Well, everyone, sometimes I'm just simply amazed at how a company can completely screw up something in so many ways. Today is the 1 year anniversary of the Magic the Gathering 30th anniversary collection. So I guess that technically kind of makes it the 31st birthday for Magic the Gathering. So congrats to Magic the Gathering. But holy moly, 1 year ago, all hell broke loose on the internet as Magic the Gathering released their 30th anniversary collection box set, 4 packs for $1,000. This is the one that they sent me as a LGS. Every LGS in the WPN program got one of them. I think premium stores maybe got 3 of them, but then the rest, were put on to the marketplace on their website at $1,000 for 4 packs. And holy moly, I think they believed, the kind of internal speculation is that they thought they were going to sell 20 to 30,000 copies of these. And instead, as they're streaming and as they're talking about it, everyone was getting all excited. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, what's this going to be? And then they released it and all hell broke loose and everybody just was so infuriated. It's amazing how much they missed with that product. And it seems like, rumor has it, that they only sold between 2,000 and 3,000 copies of that anniversary edition. The anniversary edition. So absolutely wild. So I want to talk about what could have been. I want to talk about how Wizards got this all wrong. And then I want to hear your thoughts. What are you thinking a year later about this? Are you still so mad at Wizards that you promised a year ago that you would never buy another Magic product, but now things have changed and you're buying stuff again? Or are you still so mad that you haven't touched a single thing yet? I'm really curious where you're at on the whole 30th anniversary thing. But I want to start off this way. I think the biggest issue of this whole thing, and what we all saw so clearly a year ago, was that Wizards of the Coast is inherently greedy. That this product did a lot of things, but what it did most was show off the greed at Wizards of the Coast or at Hasbro, whoever you want to push the blame on. And this is where I'm at on it. I think this product would have been a fantastic $3 booster pack, $4 booster pack. Heck, if Wizards wanted to really give back to the community, they could have done this as a 30th anniversary promotion where packs were sold at the cost of packs back in beta, right? This was the beta set. They could do this where they're losing money, but they're celebrating with the community. I'm not even sure they would lose money. What was packs? Like $2, $3 back then? $1.50? Like, that's got to be around what Wizards is paying, if not even less than that. But they could have given these out to LGSs. They could have made all the cards inside completely worthless, basically what they are, proxies, but allow stores to host events that bring people into the old Magic the Gathering cards that you never see anymore. How amazing would it have been if you could have gone to your LGS this whole year, and at any time your LGS could be like, hey, let's fire a Magic 30th edition draft, and it would be $5 per person. You get to draft with the Black Lotus, you get to draft with all the fun cards. That would have been, in my opinion, the absolute most fun way to interact with this whole 30th anniversary if they wanted to reprint things. Now, they obviously wouldn't have made money, but frankly, I don't think they made money off of what they ended up doing anyway. But they would have had a complete and utter, the absolute massive amount of people would have been excited about this product. Now, what I do think is that collectors, the reserve list people, they wouldn't even be upset about it because the print run of this would have been so high that it wouldn't have been a collectible thing. It would have just been like a fun thing to do and a draft and to experience, and it wouldn't devalue. And it's wild. Have you looked at the Black Lotus inside of these? They're expensive. The modern frame Black Lotus is still it's like thousands of dollars. It's absolutely insane. I think that puts more pressure on the reserve list than a $10 card, maybe, if you just have it at a draft level at $1 pack, and they're made billions of them and they're all over the place. So I think at the end of the day, Wizards didn't know how to handle the reprint thing, and instead they just pissed off everybody. And what they could have done is gone back to the roots of what this should have been, which is a celebration with everybody. I think that is why everybody was upset, because they essentially made it for nobody. They made a 30th anniversary party, and nobody was invited, and nobody wanted to be there. It was a complete and utter failure. So now the question I have is where do they go from here? Because, you know, I think a lot of people were really upset and they got angry and maybe they've come back. They've seen kind of some of the changes that Magic's made or maybe people are gone or whatever. But Magic the Gathering is not going anywhere. We will certainly have a Magic the Gathering, a 35th anniversary. We will certainly have a Magic the Gathering's 40th anniversary. And in 20 years, we'll have Magic the Gathering's 50th anniversary. And maybe that is when we'll crack this open. And so what do they do then? Because what they have said is that this is how they are going to handle those things. So I don't know. I think it's wild to kind of speculate and think about that kind of stuff. I just wish they would have at the beginning not been so greedy, and the tone would be completely different. Now, there are a couple other things that you can take away from this, though. If you look past all the negative and the emotional side of this, there are a couple things that if you are a collector of Magic the Gathering cards, may be beneficial for you. Number one, this really proves that Wizards really looks at the secondary market. I know what you're saying, Louis. We didn't need anything else to show us that Wizards looks at the secondary market. Look at Secret Lair. Look at this. Look at that, right? There's a bunch of things that prove that Wizards looks at the secondary market. But from a collector standpoint, from a reserve list investor standpoint, from those who care about those cards holding value, whether what you believe or not in it, for those who do care about that, listen, they essentially came out and said that they think this stuff is worth a lot of money. And I think that that is a huge mistake, because right now what you are seeing in the Magic the Gathering world, in my opinion, is that the current new players simply don't care about the high-end old school stuff. When you come into the game because you're a Lord of the Rings fan, and you come into the game because you're a Doctor Who fan or a Fallout fan coming out, right? Or if you've been watching, we've been streaming Final Fantasy, and next year you come out because you're a Final Fantasy fan. You don't care about the old school Magic stuff, and you never even get to see it. You never even get to feel it. You never get to play with a Mox. You never get to even see a dual land, really, because like everyone around you, not tons of people have them. And I think that that is where Magic is missing the mark, and I hope that in the future they recorrect the ship. I hope that they give people opportunities to engage with these cards, even if they're just like proxies, and they're I hope that they go back and they do the opposite of what they did here for those next anniversaries and for some types of products. Now that will piss off anybody who bought one of these or who is holding on one of these. I agree, that'll probably piss off all those people, but frankly it will create an ecosystem where people are seeing those cards and becoming, creating nostalgia for them with those cards. Now I'm not saying, I don't even want to get into the reserve list thing. I particularly think the reserve list at this point is just, it's kind of moot. Like, you don't even necessarily, I think the value of those old cards will still be valuable even if they were to reprint them in actual sets. But at the end of the day, I wish they would create a way for new players to come to know those cards in a meaningful way. And I think a draft experience would go a long way for that. So happy 1 year anniversary, I guess, to the 30th anniversary edition. Let me know where you're at on this product. I just think it's wild. I didn't realize that it was 30, the full year since this, all hell broke loose with this. It would be crazy to crack this open just to see what's inside. But we won't do it. Have yourselves a great day. Be kind to the people around you. And we'll see you again next video.